actually didn't want to be in this business. I wanted to be a rock and roll star. My dad called me into his office, I'll never forget it, and he says, listen, I want you to go down and talk to this master chef and see if he has something for you. And I was like, Dad, I want to play music. And he goes, do me this one favor. Go down and talk to Harvey Colgin, and if you don't like what he says, go be a musician. So I walk in, and there is the epitome of a true chef. And he says, are you Dean Fearing? And I said, yes. And he says, come on to my office. And he says, do you know how to saute? Do you know how to braise? Do you know what a rotisserie is? And I'm like, no, sir. He said, these are all French terms to better cooking. And there's this plaque, and it says, Ritz Hotel of London, 1920 to 1924. And it's signed by Augustus Escoffier, the greatest modern chef of the early 1900s. And he says, I think you could do real well here, and I want you to come back at 7:30 tomorrow morning and start school. And I went, yes, sir. But what I love best is he married a 32-year-old bombshell. And that's when I decided I was really going to enjoy this career I was about to approach in. My first big job was to be at the Masonette in Cincinnati, the oldest mobile five-star known in this country. Amazing place. George Hayden was the chef. Then George told me, I have a job for you down at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas, Texas. So I packed everything that I owned in my '78 brown fastback Celica and headed south to drive in to Dallas, Texas, which was brand spanking new. I fell in love with it. And I've always heard about Texas barbecue. And I asked one of the waiters, I said, where do you go for barbecue around here? He goes, oh, there's only one place, Sonny Bryan's. So I walk into Sonny Bryan's, and the first thing you smell is smoke. And everybody in the whole place is happy. And they're happy because they're eating the best barbecue, period, in Dallas, Texas. And then I got to the mansion on Turtle Creek in 1985, and I started bringing people to Sonny Bryan's. Julia Child, anybody that came through town that I was cooking with. And then Sonny, who didn't know any of these people, started to recognize me a little bit. He's like, you're the chef at the mansion. We became friends. But what was the keen part about Sonny Bryan was his barbecue sauce. And for years and years, I tried to replicate it. And then Sonny got sick. And his wife called me and said, Sonny wants to talk to you. So I go in and he says, pull up a chair. I'm gonna give you the barbecue sauce. Holy moly, that was like touching. And I found out that day that the greatest Texas barbecue sauce was made in the style of a French sauce. This guy was a genius and he didn't even know it. So how did I take Sonny Bryan's barbecue into a white tablecloth restaurant? If someone was gonna spend big money at the mansion on Turtle Creek, how do you make barbecue look like big money? And that was my quest. Everybody loved smoked flavor because it's the most mysterious flavor of all. I had to go around the corner with smoked flavors and give it a whole new identity. So I started to look at Mexico, West Texas, fish from the Gulf, wild game from South Texas, all of that Creole influence from East Texas. I said, what about if we would do a melting pot of all of those flavors in one restaurant. And that's where I started with the Southwest Cuisine. So I caught fire with it, and I'm still on fire with it. It hasn't diminished at all because it's still what people love. Then in '81, I had an opportunity to open Dallas's first American restaurant, Agnew's. And we were open, 5-star restaurant, great. So then I had an opportunity to go back to the mansion. And Bob Zimmer, he called me up and he said, listen, I want you to be the chef. And I said, well, I'm gonna bring Southwest Cuisine and I want you to market it. He's like, well, hold on. That's brand new. And I said, I'm not coming. And he said, give me 24 hours. All of a sudden, it's like 2 o'clock, he's supposed to call me. I'm waiting around. It rings. The mansion will be a Southwest Cuisine restaurant. This was the start of something that we all knew was going to be the future. 25 years at the mansion, perfect. Then John Golf comes over to the mansion and says, how would you like to have your own restaurant? Let's open up the Ritz and you design it. I'll write the check, but I want the pinnacle of Dallas. So left the mansion and started Fearing's at the Ritz-Carlton. My own restaurant, doing whatever I want to do in a beautiful setting. And the wow is the food that we serve. If we want to do barbecue, we do barbecue. We want to do French cuisine, we do French cuisine. We do anything we want. And I love it. That's what you do after a barbecue.